getting the first pick. Oh, get three, Pyro, get three with the
Void Kick putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Experience tranquility.
Welcome Overwatch and Overwatch Tranquility fans. We're happy to have you here at the Discord tier semifinals for the Aurum side of the bracket. It's going to be an interesting matchup here. We do have the #1 seeded Joey Esports facing off against #4 Aphelion. So this could be a very interesting matchup. Could be the first kind of upset we start getting into this bracket on this side, at least, as this pretty good matchup. Of course, you have Joey Esports, who their name alone is enough to say, and against Aphelion, they are a little bit of a dark horse. They are the only team to have beaten Ya this season, and Ya has torn it up on the other side of the bracket, so we'll see if that goes in. But before that, before we get into that action, before we get into more of that analysis, I am Worstcast here on the play-by-play, and I am joined here by the ever supreme, amazing Bard. Thanks for being here tonight, Bard.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's going to be a great game. Obviously, Joey Esports coming in here undefeated so far. I believe they've only given up 3, maybe 4 maps total in Trank this season. So great for them so far this season. And Aphelion, they had a rocky start to the season, but they're kicking it into gear and they're looking real strong. You talked about them upsetting Nya, kind of being a team this season that kind of replicates what Joey did last season, where they've looked pretty strong all season, but for some reason they're just not one of the top 3 teams that we've been talking about, and they're kind of lower in on that seeding because of some rough early games. So Joey here gets to kind of make a case against a team trying to make the Joey run from last season, and we saw how that ended for them. They made it about to this point 1 week further and then got knocked out. So Aphelion here, they're trying not to repeat history from the other side of things.
Yeah, and right now, it is kind of that fight moving in. This is a semi-final, so we're going to be moving on to those finals in the next round. This is their time. Joey Esports, Nya is tearing it up on the other side of this bracket, like I alluded to earlier. They have just swept every opponent right now, and Joey can also replicate that. They swept last week. They can again sweep today, and then maybe next week as well, try and sweep to get into that other side against presumably what would be Nya. Of course, they are facing Inferno Foxes, so that could be a little toss-up there, but kind of the expectations of this is kind of a Joey Esports Nya finals. So that'll be interesting to see what will happen there. But for right now, this is going to be the match we're going to focus on this week today. This will be the first map starting out on Nepal. So very interesting map to start off of. Again, control is pre-selected. So the higher seeded pick, sorry. The higher seed will be picking this map. So it was Joey Esports deciding to pick the Nepal. What does that kind of tell you, Bud?
It tells me that they like Rush and that they like brawl comps. Obviously, we're seeing it here with these tanks and support lines especially should be staying the same. QZ might be swapping over off of the Torbjorn to the Mei. There we go. This is exactly what you should expect on Village. It's probably what you should expect on Shrine, and I would not be surprised if it's what we saw in Sanctum as well. So here we go. They're just going to rush right to the point with this.
Yeah, and then Joey Esports moving on with this sim. Both of these teams actually having that sim and that Mei, so we're going to be looking to get over to this point, and that they do. The walls come out, both of them vertical, both of them not fighting anyone out, but it is Aphelion already set up on this point here with those Symmetra turrets. They're going to be beaming down, trying to get some charge up, but it's going to be Joey Esports not going to let them get as much charge as possible, keeping the Mind Shield down. The wall comes up, does find out Vet, but it's in fact Jeffbot that will be caught out in the end. They will be losing their life, and Hooch is going to be so charged up this fight, nothing anyone else can really do, as they end up going down here. And now reset here, 5% and climbing. First fight going to Aphelion.
Yeah, the problem I think that Joe Esports is going to run into is that Aphelion also love Rush and love Brawl. Vet is well known in the community as a Rhine player, and look at the difference here so far in the alts built by both of these teams. C Team already coming up on a Blizzard, Vet has that Shatter, and these alts are just going to be so impactful this fight.
A good wall to come out there. A massive shadow finds 5. Put him on the ground in front of that window. It's just a firing range for Aphelion as they just put lead down range and everyone's going down, losing their lives. The ice block is forced out, but that won't be enough. As another really clean fight. While Remy does keep their life, they lose the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to see the battling May ultimates here. The Blizzards are going to come out, but they're coming up on that Symmetra wall, and they're moving their way slightly faster towards that Diva Bomb just by being alive. So the TP here is going to have to do wonders.
Yeah, they TP onto the point, but it will be C Team there with the Blizzard of their own. The wall splitting off this point. Everyone's frozen up, but the lamp will keep them out. But Jeffbot is not within the lamp's radius, so they will be losing their life. Asdo as well going down. All the damage here is gone from Joey Esports, and now the wall as well from C Team. Finding out once again another person. He does lose his life, but the damage has been done as Hooch cleans it up on the point.
Yeah, and that's a great play from C Team. Jumping onto the point there, he does get walled off, but it doesn't matter. He gets the Blizzard off and makes sure that they're trapped there on that point, and then just uses the ice block. They're okay to sit in that Blizzard because they're contesting the point, and they can't flip it with the team frozen off the point.
They're already going to put up this wall very early. The only real ult they have available outside of that Lucio, outside of that outside of the Shatter. And now the Lucio's dead as well. They can't build up that beat. 94% in climbing. The Shadow does find 2 on the ground, but the counter Shadow finds 4. That's double the amount the other side finds, and now everyone's going down. Blocking off the bomb. Does find Silvertears though. There could be some turnaround, but no. The turrets on the point will be quickly dealt with. Only the Doomfist available. The beat finds 1 himself, and everyone else will be losing their life on the point. As I say that though, QZY does find Vet, but that should just be an instant cleanup, as it will be a Lucio and Diva fighting out on this point. Joey Esports has actually managed to scramble their way into this fight, and they have control of that point. It's just ticking up for now.
Yeah, this is a great recontest from Phone, especially coming back after dying early, getting that beat off, but it might not matter. They're being forced back. Asdo has to touch, and now Jeff coming in as well with QZ, and this is really just a stall fight here unless they can find a win condition, find some picks. This fight is just not going to go in the favor of Joey Esports, and there goes Jeff, and it looks like now they're just going to get cleaned up.
Yeah, and it was QZY who had the earliest swap available in the last fight, and he doesn't even have his ult yet. So no one else really has the ult available. You have all these swaps coming out, trying to get that stall onto the point. And the wall's up here for Aphelion, along with that Shadow, does seal the deal. As the first round here on the first map will be going over to the way to Aphelion. And honestly, maybe, not that it is unexpected, but you really would have maybe have expected more domination coming out from Joey on Rush.
Yeah, you know, picking a map like Nepal that is so rush-oriented, you'd think that they had a read. You'd think that they'd seen Aphelion all season, you know, really be that rush team who likes to run these Rhine comps and loves to just push into you with these Rhine comps, and would have picked it because they had to counter to that rush, or they thought their rush was better. But they're just kind of getting walked on by a Vet on this Reinhardt, especially with Tricio and the Lucio just really helping make that tempo. And they're going to try something different with Double Bubble here, but Aphelion kind of have a read for that as well. They pulled out the ball comp.
Yeah, and this composition isn't strictly a counter. It's actually going to be very interesting to see who does take this. It's a really big skill match if the bubble does come out. Blocks that rock available here, but Jeffbot will still be losing his life. He had the bubble, both of them, as the double bubble does signify, but they couldn't save his life. Now we'll be forced to back up. All the space is going to get controlled here. You see these two squads. You have the squad with the Brig, the Zen, the Sigma. They're just going to stand there. They're going to just look at you, and you're going to be like, well, I can't walk in front of these guys. They're going to kill me.
Yeah, that core is so important with the Brig, Zen, Sig, especially with the Ashe in this comp as well. They're really just going to sit there, and they want to get the damage in while you have to walk to them because they don't have that McCree for the stun. And so far, it's working wonders for Aphelion.
Yeah, and they have all this control, all this space. You're seeing now the double bubble is going to get split up. The bubble does come in, both of them, and a massive anti on the backline. Tricio is very low, but Asdo can't find the kill. Instead, Silvertails will be the one going down, the one that wasn't antied. Jeffbot going into the pit. Maybe could be a little bit of a mistake here, but Vet will be losing their life as well. So a little bit of an even trade. Both tanks are down here for the side of Joey Esports. Just taking a little leap into the pit there. Trickio trying to touch as much as possible. Hooch just firing all shots, but that won't matter as Asdo is on top of them, but they'll have to get out of there. But again, a nice, clean retake there from Joey Esports.
Yeah, it was very well done. Jeff, a little unfortunate, trying to get back to the point.
As clean as possible.
Yeah, just didn't quite have the height on that jump to make it back and landed in the pit. But we're seeing that these ults are online for Aphelion and not for Joey Esports. So it is going to be a big risk to use any of them here for Joey not countering anything from Aphelion.
And right now, looking towards this point, Jeffbot goes in and Jeffbot goes out. Back to Spot. He's only 63% to his primal, and there's been 3 fights already. That's not something you want to see from your Winston, as right now the core, as you said, this core is just so strong. It's so hard to push them out. Even if you have the double bubble, you really can't even just jump in there. So right now, C-Team almost goes in the pit himself, trying to copy maybe a little bit of Jeff's swagger. But actually, the Nano coming out onto this Monkey in the back line, the Gravitic Flux and Trans to kind of peel themselves out of this, but it could still be a rough situation. Trickio doesn't have that rally just yet. We'll be coming up on it shortly, but they don't even need it as Vet finds 2. Silvertails cleans up the Zarya that was invading their personal space, and now just cleaning back up on this point and going next.
Yeah, there was really nothing that Aphelion had to do. Oh, and the point has flipped. That is,
don't do that.
Can't let that happen if you're Aphelion, because now they're going to basically get a free fight when you should be ticking up here towards 99. But all Aphelion had to do was just go in and hit Q. They used the grab, they used the mines, they had the pulse bomb, they used the transcendence. They really could just walk in and use the overwhelming ult economy to just win that fight.
Yeah, and right now you have both tanks ult available, and that's about it. The rally coming out early, trying to mean that if this grab comes out, everyone already has that armor up. But it's actually Eat from Aphelion! That's massive! Remy just gets out-red there, and they lose the Graviton Surge, and they lose the Primal Rage. The only 2 ults they had coming into this fight are now gone, and the backline is getting pushed on by the Sigma, by the Zen. The point is secure, the Bob is there. Phone trying to touch, but for how long? Not very long is the answer to that. It's QZY trying to come back in on this Ash, trying to get some damage, maybe trying to build up that Bob, but they just can't. Asdo, in fact, finds Trickio as Jeffbot on this point is going very low on this Winston, discorded up. He'll be losing his life. And now it looks like all but over here as the wick burns down. And the first map going over to the side of Aphelion.
Yeah, really well done from Aphelion there. I do think that running that specific ball comp was a read against the double bubble. You get that Discord, you have the stun coming out from Brig to match Jeffbot when he comes in, as well as the Rock from Sigma, and you can really just poke while they have to take those longer sightlines to set up those fights. We saw that a lot. The Discord orb going on Jeffbot immediately. As soon as he peeked his head out, he got discorded and he was taking that extra damage. And then we just saw Hooch, we saw C-Team, we saw Silvertails, all just poking at him with that damage, and that extra damage over and over from that Discord orb was just guaranteeing that if Jeffbot wanted to jump in, he was going to die. He jumped in, he had both bubbles, and every single time he just took so much damage, he had to immediately either get out or die on those engagements. And when you're not getting value out of your monkey and you're not able to cycle those ults because of it, you're not building those support ults to keep them up and to build more tank ults, and when you're not building those DPS ults to win those mid fights, when you're used the ults that you use to commit, it's not good to rerunning the double bubble anymore. And Aphelion really just had that down and were kind of rolling because they knew what they were doing with that composition, specifically against double bubble.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a first to 4 format here in the playoffs, so it's nothing to panic about just yet. It is the first map. It is just control, as a lot of people say, just control, quote unquote, because it's a more chaotic game mode. That's kind of the copium moment where it's like, yeah, it's just control, guys. We win this. It's just control. We're just bad at control. It is very, very important to get off on a good foot, and Aphelion here has done that so far. So let's see if they can continue that. But it will be loser's pick, and they'll be taking us to Volskaya, it would seem. So that's a very interesting map pick, and let's see how that's going to shape things up.
Yeah, this says what I was actually expecting from them. more than the Nepal pick. And honestly, if you told me before the game what the map was, and I didn't know anything about the seeding of these teams or who got to pick maps, I'd have expected Aphelion to have picked Nepal, because it is a rush map. Basically, you have 2 out of 3 where you can just run rush. You can run that Reinhardt, and the fact that they were so dominant on Sanctum when they were running that ball comp is great. That is a huge sign that Vet has put the time in this season to learn every main tank and is a dominant force on all of them, and that the team both trusts him to do his job on those additional main tanks, but also knows how to work around it and knows what they need to do in those comps. So Aphelion can play more than rush. They've showed us that, but this map specifically shows me that Joey Esports want to be running double bubble when they pick Volskaya. And the question now becomes, can Aphelion run double bubble back, or can they run the Rein Diva into double bubble and still get that level of effectiveness?
Yeah, and as far as, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I am, but this is Joey Esports' first featured Masters season, so we actually haven't seen much of Joey Esports in terms of the actual gameplay in the server. So this has been our first peek at them, our first look at them, and I don't know. I think it's hard to label down what they want just from that first round, because it is control, and you do have that rush kind of bias on that the first point of village. So you have that rush bias, and then you obviously see them play the double bubble, neither of which they really succeeded on. So you have to ask, what are they going to be looking towards? And it looks like they're going towards double shield, actually, not by double bubble like Bard alluded to. I'm surprised, because Bard said that because it is the dominant comp on this map. It is the very dominant comp on this map. You can set your Winston up on the choke. You can have him very safely cleave for ultimate charge, for damage, for pressure, all this kind of stuff. So, interestingly, going for that double shield.
Yeah, I think what's going on here is both of these teams have their books open, and they're just doing a lot of reading. Because I think Joey Esports think that Aphelion are going to run this ball comp, which is kind of crazy to think that they read this somehow, because double shield, it sets you up on a core and forces their core to take the engages with their ball, and that's really good and really strong. You have a lot of poke that can't take those long sight lines and those angles, especially with the Ashe. So this is just a really good read from Joey Esports.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they can play this, because, like you said, it's got a lot of spam, right? And kind of the point of this comp is that it's dual mode, right? You can send off the ball and the Tracer to go do their thing, while all the other 4 people can pressure at various other points on the map. But this is kind of this comp where Vet boops Jeffbot off the map on Orisa, who has a that's not expected. That's not really how this comp is supposed to play, because you're typically supposed to be an enemy Orisa on the enemy team, but now they can exert their control, their dominance over this point. They have the shielding advantage here, because their Sigma is set up behind some very lethal forces of that Zenyatta. Actually, as I say that, as though trades back on the C team, and Orisa is a little bit slower than this Tracer, but gets killed a lot later. As in fact, it will be QZY getting rezzed up on this top ground. And now, despite them having that first pick on the Orisa, they don't really make much use of it. Yes, they get some space. Yes, they try to pressure some things out. But as though already has his Bob available, it goes into Narnia, but it's shooting them in the back, and it finds Trikio in the back as well. They lose their life. C team finds QZY. There's no res available. The lamp is also gone. So this is going to be interesting to see how these cooldowns get managed further, as this point looks to be a slow one.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem as well with this rock and roll comp, the ball and the Sigmas, that when you get those picks, you still have to force your core to engage, and if you can't force them off the high ground with those picks, you're really just setting yourself up on point to die against all this poke damage that still exists. And great first picks onto QZ, who I was watching playing those kind of outside angles away from his core, really super susceptible to the damage. Obviously, Jeffbot getting booped was not what you wanted. But him getting picked twice in a row was huge for Aphelion there, and they just couldn't capitalize by being able to walk, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, you see that, and you get the pick on the Orisa, right? And you show, okay, we can set up on high ground, we can poke them out. And then we can have a ball and Tracer when they're poked out and low, we can push them. As the mines do come out, but Jeffbot's going to fortify and get out of there, like he probably could have done earlier. But, he will be just walking out of there. But like you said, like, you want to take that high ground, poke them out, and get your ball and Tracer to engage on them, right? But Asdo instantly popped C-Team, so there was no Tracer to follow up. As happens again, Hooch takes out QZY, which is the opposite of that kind of thing. And Phone hits that Battle Mercy, takes out Hooch. Like, you ain't gonna kill my Tracer without getting retaliated on. Takes him out, but now the map positioning has reversed, and now the attackers are defending and the defenders are attacking. So, gonna be interesting to see how this ends up shaping up as position completely swapped.
Yeah, the problem is that this is not where you want to be as the attackers. You want to be able to take these long sidelines. Oh, that's a huge pick from Hooch, but Phone is going to get that res, and Asdo trades it back, and that's why you don't want to be here. You need those sightlines, and you need to be able to push in, around, and control the point after getting those picks. You can't do that from that angle.
You're going to trans before the Gravitic Flux comes out. The Pulse Bomb, just to secure the kill on Trikia. We all know how dangerous Brig with Rally can be. And that's basically every ultimate coming out here for the side of Aphelion. And zero really space or any opportunities created because everyone's alive. They have that Mercy res. Yes, Ash could maybe get caught out as there was running back away. We'll get shot up by Hooch. Yes, we'll lose their life, but the res might be off cooldown very shortly. I think it's almost like 4 or 5 seconds. But the shield is a little bit misplaced there, and Hooch finds Phone as well. Now, this is the opportunity. If you don't take the point off this, it was just not meant to be. The Bob's not touching the point just quite, as it is a little bit off that side. Will beat QZY, finding Silvertails in the back line. They're losing some healing, losing some damage, but it's not the end of the world. They have Hooch uncontested on this high ground. No one can touch them. Asdo even swaps over to the soldier, trying to touch faster, but C-Team loses the life in the mini. Oh, you cannot get 2 picks and lose the fight like this. As everyone starts going down. Overtime starts, they got a tick, but the fight back is here from Joey Esports, and he can't even touch. As now, only a tick given over, and when they had many opportunities, it seemed like, or felt like, from the observer's perspective, to take some initiative, take some fight, and they just couldn't.
Yeah, someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. I know it used to be the case, but I believe it is still the case that Orissa's ultimate, her battle bongos, they used to have the highest percent fight win, the highest fight win percentage when used.
That was a long time ago. I know it's that.
And that was back during Double Shield, obviously. But I believe that the percentage hasn't changed. I just don't know if something else like Rally has overtaken it. So the fact that Jeff Butt could hold on to that literally the whole round until the last fight, like they weren't forced to use it at all until the very last fight, is huge for Joey Esports because they got pushed. They lost picks. They didn't have any other ults but that one. But obviously, your whole team gets a damage bonus. They have to destroy that. So we saw C-Team in that backline in a position to kill Truedonger on the Baptiste. And instead, they had to go for that Battle Bongo. They had to kill Orissa's ultimate because if they left it up, their whole team was just going to take so much damage and die. And that shield kept them up so that C-Team got the pick onto that, but had to trade their own life for it. And then QZ could just come back and solidify every single kill that was needed until their team could come back. And then Joey just walked through Aphelion.
Yeah, the funny thing about that stat is I used to be a really big stat nerd back in like when Orisa was first released. And that stat actually rang true from like since like she was released, like a couple patches after she was released, she got some buffs, and that rang true for a very long time. But as I say that, they're just kind of getting ran on here as the double bubble is out in full from Joey Esports. So this kind of looks we're getting from them. We're seeing some double bubble, we're seeing that double shield, so we're seeing what they like to run, and it's not that rush. So Jeff does go into this top side, but Hooch finds two on the back side. The tick is already secured here, so only about 10% they have to cap, and even if they lose this fight, only having to cap 10% in 3 minutes is just gonna be a monumental task to overcome here. As Asdo kills 2.
Yeah, Asdo just won an ult, apparently. He was like, no, I'm gonna have my Deadeye, thank you. And got those 2 picks there. And now they're gonna come into this with Deadeye, so if they can set their core up on high ground and then just have their tanks contest point and use Deadeye, like, that's gonna be powerful, and they need like 10% of this point. They literally need to just stand on it for 2 seconds. So this is everything for Aphelion here. They need to win this fight clean without ults.
Oh, they're killing the people coming back from spawn
no.
as those staggers paid off. But QZY loses their life as well, but that won't quite matter. They have the majority of the core, but now Truedonger going down and no res available. Now that is gonna matter. Everyone's gonna be moved to the high ground. Phone Battle Mercy again. That's the second kill they've gotten again on the DPS. C team goes down to the Battle Mercy's blaster. is on this high ground. It will be Aphelion kiting back. They have the Transcendence. They have the Gravitic Flux. Transcendencing the high noon, not typically what you see, but the Gravitic Flux comes out in response. The McCree gonna go low, gonna lose their life. Phone, again, doesn't have that res. 30-second cooldown, and as again, going for the kill on to Hooch, doesn't quite find it, and Hooch saves the Bob because they were dead, but that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, but look at the ults that they're coming up on here for Joey. Basically, a fight win coming up here. They've got the Nano, they're gonna have the Grav, and they're just gonna put that Grav in and Nano their Monkey and just continue to cycle these ultimates until they force everyone off the point. And I think this time, don't do anything tricky if you're Joey Esports. Just play the game. Stop trying to chase those staggers. You kind of put yourselves into a bad situation, but now, like, they just need to set up, and that's an excellent pick to stop them from setting up.
Yeah, we were talking about, oh, they only need 10%, this is so winnable, but imagine if this does end up happening. That would be a demoralizing loss, as C-Team does find the Tracer win on that duel. As it will be Asdo coming back on the Doom. The Pulse finds Truedonger. This is more time getting burned off the clock, but they're going to be committing more ultimates. They only committed that Pulse Bomb before. Now they're going to be playing some Minesweeper, clearing out these mines. They're going to be pushing Jeffbot. He doesn't have ult available. Tracer and Ball can do a surprising amount of damage to this target with so much health. He just decides to run off the map. Going to try to reset as fast as possible. 50 seconds though, and there's a lot of ults here available for Joey Esports.
Yeah, that was a genuine tactical reset from Jeffbot.
Yeah.
That's impressive that he just decided, like, yeah, my team's not going to be here, so I'm going to reset. And that's really good for him. But also Aphelion, kind of an overcommitment on those ults. They were building up an ult economy advantage, at least going even, and then they commit 3 there. That's a lot to use, especially that minefield, which could be used to basically zone out the entire point.
You only have that Bob available. Gonna probably have to use it for Peel at this point because you're gonna have a Nano Monkey going on your backline. Not much they can do without those ults available. Just like that, the Bob goes out. The Bubble finds out the Zen's gonna be losing their life very shortly. The Grab goes on the high ground, finds Femian as Asdo takes out 2, but Bob is gonna do their due diligence, gonna do their work. Finds 2 as well. Asdo finds 3, but the Bob looks to be responding, but he finds 4. And again on this point, it's just a brawl between them. Doom, the Ana, the Tracer, and the Ball. We're going to be looking to kill Truedonger here. He's going to have to live, but he cannot. It's going to be on Asdo to 2v1. The resets are going to be coming in here. The Tracer's going to be touching from QZY, but instead the Lucio's here to boop them off. Pulse Bomb goes wide. QZY just can't quite find it. As he goes low, loses their life. The Monkey coming back. Doesn't quite have that Primal, but will have it very shortly. Going to be popping on the point, but Vet has mines of his own. As the Moira is back. Everyone here from Aphelion is back on the side as Joey Esports is staggering in. And no way! That's crazy. That is insane that Aphelion wins this map. They only needed 4% after that first fight, or 10% after that first fight to win the round, the map, and they can't find it.
Yeah, that's kind of impressive for Aphelion.
I mean, yeah.
They had... I mean, it's also kind of impressive for Joey Esports because they had everything they needed to win that fight for like 4 fights. Yeah, they just needed to go in. Like, we saw it last time. We saw it on Nepal, on Sanctum, where Aphelion, they built that ult advantage, and then they just walked in and hit Q. And they cleared out that fight and totally secured the point and won. And Joey Esports literally just needed to do that. They had Nano, they had Grab, they were coming up on a Pulse Bomb, they had a McCree who can keep your core alive to use all of those ultimates.
Basically.
And then they didn't use any of them. For like
well, they used them, and then the Bob killed 3 people. Like, here's the thing, that fight is so crazy.
They had them for 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, yes, they did.
And then they waited for so long.
True.
But Aphelion also, they had the slower spawns. They're all the way across the map, and they lost people early. And yeah, Bob evened that up. But at that point, Joey Esports should still be beating you to the point. And they stayed alive without healers for longer than Joey did, and allowed for a full team reset by staying alive that long, and then cleared them off the point, including burning through 2 ultimates that were used. Like, that's really good from Aphelion, and that's great to see that, you know, where double bubbles should be working, they can use these ball comps, they can use Rush, and now they're going to jump into King's Row as the pick from Joey Esports. So it looks like they want to just match Rush again.
yeah, it's gonna be looking to King's Row again. A lot of casters that I've talked to, not only in this in Tranquility, but also in other areas, have mixed opinions on King's Row. Some don't like having to watch it every single game, it feels like. Whereas some others, they just praise it. They're like, thank you for making King's Row a map. And funnily enough, the new game director for Overwatch is actually one of the people I think who either created or was very heavily influenced in the creatings of King's Row. So
Yeah.
there's some positivity in your life. Know that the man that created King's Row, the greatest map to ever exist in gaming, according to some people that are not right, but they
Not
believe
in
they're
this
right.
call. So
No,
we can
not in
say
this
it as
call.
it is. We see this map way too much, guys.
We see this map a lot. Yeah, we see this map a lot. I think there's other really fun hybrid modes. I personally am a big Icon Vault fan.
I think
it's-
Blizzard World is a treat.
You
No
seem
one
to be
else
one
seems
of
to
the
think
few.
that.
You
Like,
seem to be one of the few.
Me and like
It's-
Ochre in Trank and Soul Dynasty. Like we're the three
Yeah,
that think that Blizzard World is great.
the three people that like Blizzard World. I'm not as big a fan of Blizzard World, but hey, I'm Hollywood. I'll get little like halfway, meet you halfway. Like, yeah.
Oh, Hollywood's good too. I like maps
yeah.
where there's that geometry you can
I
use.
like not
but
2CP,
You can
really.
work it. Yeah, I think we can all agree though. 2CP is the worst.
I think if it wasn't, I think if I load into a ranked match and it's not 2CP, I think it's gonna be better than the worst it could possibly be. So, but as we're talking, we will be loading into King's Row here. As again, I think I want to get your opinion on this. Aphelion's up 2-0 on this in this series, by the way. let's not hide it. Let's not beat around the bush. They're
Yeah.
looking poised to sweep, maybe.
Yeah, the thing is, we've seen a lot of number one seeds lose this week. We've seen Flashbacks, we've seen Alpha, we've seen Tempest, we've seen Ragnarok, who might have actually been number 2 seed. Now that I think about it, Nya might have been number 1 seed.
Nya was number 1 seed. Ragnarok.
Yeah, okay, so we've seen not Ragnarok. Basically, Firefight and Nya are the two number 1 seeds still
Only ones remaining.
in the tournament, like after this week. And Joey Esports might want to make that a 2-man show the way that they're playing. Aphelion kind of poised to be like the 4th major upset of the week. And if you ask Aphelion, probably shouldn't be an upset, but you know, win more games, like go undefeated.
Win more games.
Sorry.
Bard with the amazing analysis. If you want to be higher seeded, win more games. Yeah, that is how that works. Is we're gonna see both these teams run out on this rush. On the mirrored compositions, very standard, very meta, not very seen, very practiced. You know, as both of them running into each other. Both walls coming out here, but the first freeze comes out on Jeffbot, and Vet follows up with the pin. Could not carry a pin because he was frozen up. As every main tank knows the feeling of dread as you watch that Mei freeze you slowly down, and the Rhine prepares to charge into you and take 300 of your HP away, and they didn't have anything to respond. The lamp was already gone, and they'll be speeding forward, just cleaning up this point. It's Aphelion, a very strong first fight win here, going into King's Row.
Yeah, I still think that this should be called the HGTV meta, because everyone's just building houses. You've got walls, you've got windows, and maybe if Sim were in it, we could call it the HGTV meta, because then you have 4 walls. But just going into those fights and watching literally just walls go up 2 seconds into an engagement is a treat.
Yeah, as the window does come out here, the lamp was already forced out from Silvertails. The Shadow, though, does find 2, and the window's still up. The lamp a little bit late to save that mech, but it will be the Blizzard going out, but not going out. Wasn't eaten.
C-Team used it. It wasn't eaten. Where'd it go?
It wasn't eaten.
They got stunned? They got stunned out of it.
Oh, they got stunned out of it. Oh, I forgot.
Kill
Yeah,
roll.
I forgot Mail was the one that could... It's a very tricky timing, that one, because it's very small timing on that. Because it's like...
That's wild. Good for Kilroy. Subbed in for this map, and
Kilroy.
obviously, like, showing immediately why they got subbed in. Maybe making us question why they weren't in to begin with. And there's the walls as the engagement does come out.
And now Asdo doesn't get his Blizzard stunned out, so he will find Vet frozen up. The lamp comes out, the Shadow comes out, finds 3. as C-Team on this outside does find Jeffbot. How do you let this happen with all the advantages? The Mei on the off angle finds Jeffbot, but Asdo responds immediately, says C-Team, no, I am also someone that can spam icicles downrange. Oh, Vet! Fast and furious into the front lines, and it will be Manix just popping the high noon. Doesn't have the shield in front of him. Vet was kiting back at the time. The bomb going to the back line. Vet will be responding with a shield of his own. The lamp already forced out here for the side of True Donger, and he loses his life for it. But the beat is responded here from Trikio. Will be Jeffbot coming back in as fast as possible, but CT is still on a rampage with those icicles, finds Kilroy, and now it will be Jeffbot's turn to be frozen once again by this blizzard as QZY loses their life as well. Both tanks frozen up, stunned up, taken out back, and they will be moving down Street's face. Still 3:30 to go because of that extremely fast first point capture, but a little bit of stall there coming out for Joey Esports.
Yeah, and that fight started off with an absolute snipe on the icicle for Asdo taking out C-Team. That was across the entire first point through the choke and through the hotel, I believe. So that's a heck of a pick if I've ever seen one. And honestly, at this point, it does come down to whether or not Asdo can get value out of this blizzard.
Yeah, and they will be high noon speeding around this corner looking for some kills. The shield is so low. Of course, the shield can't protect you. There's multiple shots that come out there with like 1,000 damage each. It's going to just burst right through it. And they'll be rushing forward, trying to take some staggers here. The Diva going to be losing their life as well. A really nice wall there from Asdo will lead to the stagger kill. And even with that 250 HP remax, they're not scared of freezing them up, stunning them up, locking them up. They will be getting staggered here for a good 15 seconds.
Now, you said something interesting there about the Deadeye damage doing like 1,000 damage. I was under the impression... Oh, here, wait, this is it. This is the Mei ult I was talking about where you get value. Very well done,
yeah.
Asdo. That's a pretty clean fight win.
Yeah, that will be the fight win going over to the side of Joey. But again, by your point about McCreel, you were under the impression that it just didn't... It capped out of the health?
I was under the impression that it did exactly your current HP.
No, it just scales up infinitely. Not infinitely, but to a certain...
Infinitely.
Well, it scales up depending on how long you're locked onto them. And it was a while ago they actually buffed the uppage rate. So even after it has the skull, the damage still goes up.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, but the Shadow comes out, both blocked from both sides. Shadows just find nothing, as instead it will be C-Team on this outside, gonna be looking for some damage, looking for that Blizzard. Oh, that doesn't eat! The DM was so close! Will be bombing to get themselves out of dodge, and they find exactly that. Trikio loses their life for it, as again, it will be Joey Esports repelling Aphelion here, and looking for another fight on Street's face.
Yeah, and these staggers are kind of brutal. Honestly, you lose half your team first and then half your team gets staggered. Normally, like if it's a Diva, she has jets, she can get out of that spawn. The rest of your team can set up and she can catch up. But when half your team dies and none of them are Lucio, you have to sit and spawn and wait so you can speed the whole group out. And luckily enough, it looks like Aphelion want to take this high ground here for a unique engagement. So that's not really setting them back too much.
Yeah, and on this high ground they go, walking around. Asdo's going to be hard-pressed to find a good wall angle. They go high ground. I want to see if they rotate around the outside. They're just taking some shield damage at this point. The shield is dead. They're going to have to wait for that to recharge before they can start pushing again. Yep, they will be taking over this balcony area. And, of course, the response from Joey Esports is just saying, well, if you want to go to up... Ooh, that's interesting. There's still the beat available here from Phone, so they can respond with the beat of their own. They just speed away, wall away, go, we're going to disengage as far as possible, use 2 ults for nothing, but now they have the positioning. The charge does come out from Vet, but there's going to be the response here. They have the beat, they have the high noon of their own, the wall cancels it, and now the lamp is already gone. There's nothing left here for the side of Aphelion, and that's shown when Vet going to get frozen up by this blizzard, and there's just nothing that can save him, as everyone else is going to be losing their life as well. A very interesting engage, not really reading from Aphelion that Joey Esports has already kited back.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I'm going to say this as a flex DPS player, so everyone in the chat who hates Mei, sorry. It is so interesting to watch these two Meis play, because their strategies are so different. Oh, that might actually just be it, but they do get the touch in, that's great.
They do get the touch, but they only have 4 people here. It's going to be a 6v4, and that's shown when Vet loses the life, making a 6v3, 6v2. I'm just cursing these people. Just going down as soon as I say the previous number. It just goes down by 1. Actually, it's going up by 1. 6v2 now. Oh, 6v1. As everyone's going to be going down on this point, going to be losing their lives. And they still had ults to spare there. I want to point this, like, they do cap this, they stop this here in the second phase. There's still a lot of opportunity here for Aphelion to try and win this map. A full hold on first, a hold on that first choke on second. Very, very possible, very, very doable. But to your point of watching Maze, and I think it's interesting, you said from a flex DPS perspective, from a main tank perspective, I like watching May play because I think it's interesting. Do I like being on the receiving end of May play? No. That's why I swapped to off tank this season, because I can play Diva and jump over the wall. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. It's interesting, like it's fun, it's creative, like it's got some intellectual like stuff behind it,
big
but like
energy from the walls, yeah. Yeah, but it's so interesting to watch these because C Team, in my opinion, is getting a lot more value out of the walls and really shutting out Joey Esports more consistently, using the walls to get value out of Blizzard more consistently than letting it get eaten. For example, you throw the wall up and then you just toss your Blizzard. Maybe you only catch 2 people, but you're getting the Blizzard value. And doing a really good job, especially of catching Jeffbot and kind of shutting him out of these fights, as well as taking these off angles to get that poke, that freeze more consistently. But Asdo is getting more value out of that Blizzard just in general.
Yeah.
Like more often than not, Asdo's Blizzards are winning more fights than C Teams. And that's where it comes down to how important is this character? Is it just the ultimate, or does all of the utility play more of a role than just getting the ultimate value?
Well, after the first map, we said that maybe Joey Esports wasn't a rush team, but they've shown that they can play this rush to a pretty good level here against Aphelion. They look to be a little bit one step ahead in terms of ult usage, but as I say that, Jeffbot does go down the lamp just a half a second late. Just pain as a main tank, you go, oh, we have lamp, oh, it's half a second late, still hitting the ground. But again, they could get the response here. The flashbang comes out, the freeze as well, but the lamp is there in time for the side of Aphelion. They will be cleaning up a Manx, loses their life late. This is going to be time. Joey Esports to back up, wait for the Lucio to speed them in, but the 65.
Yeah, Manx going on the flank there. Manx on the flanks, getting that pick to secure the fight win. But if they don't get back on time for this actual like start of this fight, they may have doomed the next fight.
Yeah, and Bet will get frozen up here. The wall, though, from C Team does lock out this Lucio for the time being. And the Shatter coming down to a frozen Jeffbot leaves him in the dust, as they will be having the kite out with this Lucio now. And a really good job. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. You don't have your Reinhardt for this next fight. They're going to have to give up a lot of space. You're going to maybe even have to give up ticks before you can get your Reinhardt back.
Yeah, it's the same as last fight, and they're going to use the wall early. They're not even going to let them stay out of this fight on their own. They're going to say, all right, bye. You can have that choke point, I guess.
As Blizzard.
Oh, no. They're going to play into this wall, into this Blizzard, and they're not going to have the choke for this next point. That's so important. That's not what you need to do if you're a Aphelion here.
Aphelion there, by losing Vet in the later stages of that fight, it kind of shows this snowball where, okay, we have to back off the point because we can't contest this, because we don't have our Reinhardt, and then it's like, okay, so we can't contest this. Initially, we have to give up 2 ticks, and then we have to recontest. We're recontesting into a Blizzard, into a wall, into a BAP window. Okay, we lost this fight now. Where's the next best place to hold the choke? Oh, we died late. We have bad spawns. We can't get the choke. It's just a really bad sequence of events.
This choke, I think more Kings Row games have ended on this choke than have ended anywhere else in Kings Row. And you've just given that up by taking a really late engage and really hedging your bets there. Oh, that's a good shatter.
Yeah, finds the shadow, but they're going to be frozen up. The counter freeze is available here, and they don't have that lamp available. Lamp using the backline to counter that shadow, so really good cycling of ults there, and a little bit of peel there with that lamp for the side of Joey Esports. They've really shown their colors here as a team on this rush composition on Kings Row. Maybe it's because it's Kings Row, because they play it all the time, and even if it is rush, because they haven't been showing it on other maps, or haven't been as good looking on other maps as this. Maybe it's just because it's Kings Row and they play it all the time in ranked, but they seemed a lot more comfortable, you know, just comfy.
Yeah, they definitely look a lot better on this rush than they did the first map, and then they did on Volskaya just in general, running the double bubble and the double shield. Maybe not the double shield, because that did look very good, but the double bubble was struggling. And part of it might be some swaps. We're seeing Kilroy on the screen right here at the play of the game, came in to play hit scan. QZ swapped over from the DPS to the off tank, and we've seen that that worked very well for Joey Esports. And honestly, like, I just want to give a shout out to JeffBot, because Play by Play had to step in. As I said, that was a very important shatter. The Blizzard went out, and he took the time to think, all right, the May's not freezing me. I'm not going to freeze immediately. If I shatter here, they're all going to go on the ground, and none of them can kill me. So I am going to use Shatter as a defensive ultimate. And he knocked everyone but Vet down and used Shatter as a defensive ultimate to keep himself alive and to keep his team in that fight, essentially, and let Asdo come back out with the Blizzard, catch Vet, kill Vet, and then just roll their team. And that's great, because JeffBot kind of got bullied those first 2 maps, especially on the Winston. And if you have the time to come back into the game and have a big fight like that and have a huge ultimate that essentially secured the round and the map for your team, that's great for your morale. And for the team in general is great for them. So that's big ups to him. And honestly, good for Aphelion. Like, they made that last fight and those last 2 fights interesting despite kind of giving up the best chance that they had in that map. So they're doing a really good job of also not being out of this. They came with the same fight that they had the first 2 maps, so they're not just thinking, oh, okay, we won the first 2, easy win. They want to win this, and they are playing like they will win this. So that's really good for them as well.
Yeah, and we will be moving towards a halftime here just in a second as we move into this break again. It is Aphelion 2-1 up in this series to Joey Esports, but they now have the momentum as we see, can they come back from that early deficit of 2-0, or will they continue down, and Aphelion claiming this upset for today? We'll be right back after this break, and you'll get all the answers to those questions.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I can't wait to get started.
Five, four,
Especially on third point, set up this Sigma
one.
and their little squad there in a really safe position. But right now, they won't have any time set up because the Joey Esports is already in their faces, and they know. So they're going to be looking around. This wall does come out. The insta-speed, insta-charge coming down on here, over onto Aphelion, trying to kill him as soon as possible. And that they will end up doing after he gets frozen up for about 30 seconds. He's still alive somehow. What is this pocket? As he managed to live long enough for Jeff Bob to get traded out. Twig gets found on the other side of the wall, losing their life, but the Rhine is down. The shielding from this Ashe is gone, but they will be sitting on this point nonetheless. The ball going to the backside, trying to look for some kills, but instant flashbang, instant trees, and they should be losing their life very shortly. The wall as well is good, but it's just trade kill after trade kill, and that's not what you want if you're the spawn holding team, because you need full hands on deck in order to hold this point at the spawn.
Yeah, at this point, they're really just playing for the time that they can waste to give themselves that extra fight. And a minute off the clock going into this corner is good for Joey Esports. Like, that's a win, really. You're not going to win the game holding up close like that. But look at Asdo. He's 80% to a Blizzard. True's going to have that window. Kilroy has Deadeye and got the pick on a vet just there. So they're in a good spot, and they get to take control high ground again for free, basically.
Yeah, this spot here where the Sigma is playing currently is where they're going to want to be playing. The, they run over the Tracer. That is good. They get down there, they get the stun up onto them, not expecting the speed that comes out from Phone as they manage to do that. And that's exactly what you want to do as this rush composition, right? You're going to sit on this high ground, you're going to wait, they're going to walk to their position, and you're going to speed on top of their little groupies, and they're all going to die. As the Asdo looking to get this Blizzard off here, perhaps, if they're all just trapped up into this room, playing some tiny Overwatch right now. The Critic Flux comes out, the Blizzard instantly takes it up as well. Phone finds Trichio, as it will be Femian, throws it up, still going low. He will be getting that, the block off, gets the Flux off, the eat off, does manage to live a little bit longer. The Discord, though, is on Jeffbot, he will be traded out, charging a bit to his doom. The bomb comes out, find nothing, but there is no shield here for the Sigma, as C-Team is tearing it up on this backside.
Yeah, the most important thing that Joey Esports did at the beginning of that fight was just finding out where C-Team is, isolating him, and just dropping. And that's what they did on the high ground. They saw where C-Team was, they got the wall up, and then they just rushed. Like, the whole 6 went right into C-Team to shut him down there. And that's a good spot, because C-Team kind of won that first spawn door hold for Aphelion. And if they can take him out of the fight consistently, Aphelion's in a bad spot. But if they can't, C-Team can do what they just did and kind of wipe through your team.
Yeah, I really like what they did there, but starting off here, the Shadow comes out on the backside, 3 people on the ground, the High Noon through the window to follow. It's just too much damage, but you do have 3 ults committed, but you trade it out for a rally, you trade it out for a pulse bomb. That's a trade you'll take here, regaining control of this area, and only a minute to go. This is entering last fight territory almost.
Yeah, really right now it comes down to Phone and Asdo. How quickly can they build those ults up? We've seen Asdo build it very quickly with that first spawn room hold, but Manx has this bomb, and we've seen the value that they can get in C-Team. Are they? No, Phone sees them. Okay.
Yeah, they are found out, as they're going to be pushing up really aggressive here, but you're going to get a lot of charge on to Manix. But as I say, that he already has his bomb available, so no charge to find. His vet getting walled up into this top left corner will get bogged here. As the pauses seem to be coming out in the chat. We'll see if that ends up getting fixed here. As it ends up getting fixed at the end. Moving to a little technical pause here. Seeing what's going to go down. But for right now, I mean, it's looking pretty good for the side of Joey Esports right now. Because they have a lot of that advantage on the positioning on the map.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting hold so far. We are seeing that someone that I didn't even like register as building an ultimate for the side of Aphelion, Silvertail, it has 98% to their trance. They're going to be going into this fight with trance, essentially. And that might be the difference maker if Asdo gets this Blizzard out, because Asdo was able to build the Blizzard. Vet and Manx are going to have the mines and the Bob, which could be so impactful. And yet, they're going to have this Transcendence, which should just be a hard counter to Asdo's Blizzard. Blizzard goes out, you don't have an anti, so Trance goes out with it, whole team stays up, and then you just keep walking. But you then still have to kill their team, and if Phone can build up that beat, it's going to be harder, and it really comes down to who builds ults and who gets value out of them when you have 20 seconds left and need 10 meters. And and very interesting to see as well as C Team. So much value on that Tracer the last two fights. So much value without Pulse Bomb. Like, Pulse Bomb is essentially it's a free pick, I guess, in a lot of situations, or it forces out Immortality Field, or it just flies off to the side somewhere and we forget that Tracer had it. But C Team without that ultimate ability is still finding pick after pick after pick in these fights and really cleaning up what Vet is. I guess cleaning up what Vet is knocking up into the air on that Wrecking Ball. And that's a huge combo that you want to be firing on all cylinders. And if Aphelion are going to not only secure this point, because that is important and is what they should be looking at, but this whole map, if they're going to be taking that second point especially, which I think is really hard against Rush, and that third point, which is ridiculously hard. I expect them to swap to the Rush, but if they want to keep running this ball comp, they need that Tracer and they need that Wrecking Ball to just be totally in sync, like mind melding, like Pacific Rim, so that they're one giant mecha robot on the field here, so that they can take out the Kaiju, which is, I guess, Joey Esports. But we'll have to wait and see, because right now Joey Esports are not in the lead, and you'd think that the giant monster would start
would it be Aphelion?
stronger.
But
yeah.
I mean, sometimes Godzilla goes down and comes back up. But before that, as we still waiting on this pause, a little bit of some interesting developments here is that next week is finals week for each division, and then after that, of course, we have grand finals coming up the week after that. So only 2 more weeks left here. So guys, we still have that giveaway going on, so tell your friends to be heading in here, getting those points up, exclamation point points in the chat if you want to see how many entries you have, but get those follows in there, get those people coming in. Again, just get people in here, get those follows going, because that's just chance of money right there. I mean, I just think that's a really good thing. But of course, what's more better than getting money? Watching good Overwatch while getting money. Or while getting the chance for money. Sorry. I think that's just pretty worth it, guys. Personally, as someone who was recently unemployed, personally, I find that pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, if I could get paid money for watching Overwatch, I'd be very rich.
If I could get paid money for casting Overwatch, but
yeah,
that's just my struggles.
Here, so we'll talk to him after.
That's my struggle. Yes, Dora's a millionaire from casting, guys. Totally. But no, that will not lie.
His hair so weighty.
Yes, that's how he pays for the finest stylist. As we're talking about Doa's stylish hair, Asdo has managed to run down not only Femian but also Solitaires. Overtime does take away, but 2 trades coming out here for the side of Aphelion. The May ult does come out here from Asdo onto this point, denying it the space available, but only C Team and Bob on that point. Bob's gonna be hard to burst through in that small time period, but you have a Mannix here just set up on this high ground. He's just set up. He's just there. He's just going to be firing range, just shooting down onto your backline. But the Sigma is back with the rock, managing to push him out. He's going to go low, and on this point, it's going to be very hard to stay on it for long. The Transcendence, though, does come out as Mannix rotates over to the opposite high ground and gets caught up for it. The Critic Flux, though, coming out, finds 3 onto the ground, but 2 of them are taken out by Femian as he finds the damage from the Critic Flux, leaving them in the dust right now, as it will only be the McCree available, and Kilroy cannot touch. So a really big clutch-up moment there for the side of Aphelion, leading them into the second phase.
Yeah, and the ultimates there were huge. Silvertail dying immediately actually was great for them, because when the Blizzard came out, they didn't commit that Transcendence. So really all that happened was their team let Bob stay frozen on the point. and
Yeah.
the trance could be used to keep their entire team alive later on when they really needed it. So dying was kind of a blessing for Silver there.
Yeah, and I mean, looking here, you're going to be playing Rush with this. They swap over to the Sigma, swap over to the Sombra, but the Sombra pick looks to be a little bit weak right now as C-Team managed to take out their flanking opposite. As instead, it will be the Sigma getting run over here. Aphelion, once again, against this Rush composition, you're going to get run over. But actually managing to live. Oh, the Flux just whiffs a really good shield bash there from Trico to find them outside of the Flux, but it will be Kilroy taking the better of the hits again opposite. And again, 2 DPS down here. You only have the ball, you only have the Brig, you only have the Sig, and it's going to be very hard for them to do anything, especially with the Sombra. Yeah, hacking this ball up in the back line. The Shadow comes out for Jeffbot, does put them on the ground in the front line, leaving them they're not able to respond, and a really good repelling here from the side of Joy Esports.
Yeah, I already said it. This second point is hard to run this ball comp on. Not the hardest point to run it in the whole map, because third point is rush, essentially. It's all you run.
Yeah.
But especially when they pull the Sombra out to basically just say, yeah, you're on Wrecking Ball, and now you are wrecked ball. So really, really going to be hard for Vet to get insane value.
Yeah, but as they're already close to that EMP, C-Team once again finds themselves dead, but this time to a pin. Yeah, not something you typically see with the pins coming out on the Tracers, but a 3-man EMP looking to seal the deal. As Silvertails goes down, Mank soon to follow. And Joey Esports doing a really good job of playing to their advantages here, playing to their strengths with these the characters that they swapped off to. Some really nice adaptations mid-round. A good sign here for Joey Esports.
I doubt we just got my angle because I am looking at it from the top down, but that was the funniest interaction I've seen in this game. Phone corner hopping up on Lucio to just immediately get whip shotted in the face off of that corner. So that's unfortunate. And Bob here looking sad as they get hacked on the objective point and then killed by the Deadeye.
Really nice boop there from Phone. Pushes Vet out into the open. They lose their life. It will be Manx here on the outside looking for this fight on the Kilroy, but you can't take that. They have a beat. They have 1,000 more HP, and you're just not going to win that fight ever. And right now, there will be Jeffbot swinging on the opposition. Good Flux just to make sure as Vet hacked up. Can't even play the video game. Poor Vet. Like, really nice adaptations here for Joey Esports, leading to like shutting down what this comp wants to do.
Yeah, if you're on Aphelion here, you're gonna have to talk to an admin because I'm pretty sure someone on Joey Esports is hacking your Wrecking Ball over and over again, and not a great time. Vet really he wanted to get in there. He wanted to get the value. Even just looking for those mines, he got pushed back and then hacked and then killed. He started that last fight by engaging on the point, getting dead-eyed, and then coming back and getting hacked. So really just not a good time to be that Wrecking Ball. But the rest of their team, C-Team especially, who has just been a treat to watch on that Tracer, has been matching up really well against Kilroy, who came in on the DPS on that McCree and just has not slowed down in giving Joey Esports every advantage they could ask for in these picks-based rush comps where they're rushing in. Right there, especially when you run the Sombra, so much more pressure is put on your McCree because you don't have the May anymore. Your team isn't engaging on walls. Your team isn't engaging on freezes. You're not getting that 6-man damage. You are looking to poke. You are looking to find someone to punish with those hacks. And Kilroy didn't even wait for those hacks. They were just finding people. Like, all right, there's your head. It's out in the open. Yeah. It's mine now.
Head's gone.
And that's great for him. And honestly, I kind of want to keep watching. Just Kilroy.
Interesting to see here that it will be Aphelion opting into the rush composition. I think it's interesting that you would attack with your ball composition and then defend with your rush composition. I feel like the ball composition might even do better on the defense, as instead it will be the Sebastian coming out to break this spawn hold. Only for that, this is probably not going to continue any longer than this first initial fight, as they're just trying to get some damage down. It's just a massive damage to get them out of this spawn, but they can't quite find that, as will be Trudong losing the life, as though to follow, as the idea of trying to put a bunch of damage into the backside of this spawn hold doesn't seem to be working. I was going to say, until Kilroy finds 2, kind of just left to charge up in that backside. And again, we said this on Joey Esports' defense, but once you start losing those members, you can't hold any longer. As another pause will be coming out. I forget who this was from.
This is also from Aphelion. Vet has very in character for Vet, I should say. has hit for 40,000 ping. I
A
am
little bit
guessing
40,000 ping. Just a
the
little bit.
actual number is probably somewhere around 3,000, which is not exaggeration. Vet has peaked very high, not in SR, but in ping. His ping smurfs at my peak SR. So probably exactly what Aphelion needs here is they got to find Kilroy, because that sim is
I
very
also
high
need to
charge,
find
very
better
dangerous.
internet. But,
And yeah, Vet needs to find a way to not be playing with his router in a bathtub. Really,
I mean, is it an accolade to where perhaps your SR is lower than your ping? Is that like an accolade? Is that like
there
I don't
should be
know.
an achievement that you can get in
Should be an
game if
achievement.
your ping during a game hits a number that is like a top 500 players SR.
SR. So like 4.3. 4.3.
Yeah, if you hit 4,000 ping in a game, you should get an achievement.
Ah, of course. As the wall does come out on the far right here, again, they swapped off Asdo onto that Tracer, a little bit better than that Bastion for maneuverability, as they'll just be rushing on top of the Sim. A very interesting place to hold if you are the Sim. It's very open. It's very easy for you to get run down upon. So that's exactly what happens as Kilroy, yep, gonna swap off to that Sim as soon as they put that ultimate out there. And the Sim no longer has that value of breaking out of spawn. So a good retake here for Aphelion, and now looking up for this defense.
Yeah, and gonna be interesting. I think Asdo's gonna make the swap, which gonna swap
Blizz,
over
yep,
to the May 90% to a pulse bomb. So they have full faith in their team to play around these walls more effectively than a pulse bomb could maybe open up a fight. And we're gonna have to see if that faith is well placed.
Yeah, but C Team was on that May since the beginning, so they have their Blizzard already. It will be the Ice Block coming out. I don't really think you need that Shatter, to be fair, but they use it anyways, and no one dies because of it, as QZY is on the right side, just doing work, as I say, doing damage, and somehow manages to basically 1v4 and just kill a lot of people.
They got silver as well.
I mean, that's like a
I've got to say, I know that was huge from QZ, but Asdo blocked QZ, Phone, and themselves with a wall.
Oh, that's a nice
And
bomb.
Phenomenon is in to win this round now with the Diva Bomb, so battle of the off tanks, really.
They're just like, you win that fight with your, I'll win the next fight with my. Like, okay, I got you. Make yourselves look good. Maybe look for a promotion in the future. I don't know. But both these off tanks have been putting in work. Actually, QZY was on the DPS for those first two maps. Maybe his true calling was the Sigma. Maybe his true calling was on that off tank. We don't really know. It is kind of very similar to that DPS. But the wall come out here very quickly. You can see them breaking it down with the Baptiste. They can still look. He drops down with that high noon. Doesn't quite find anything. This will be a good kite back. But again, a stun coming out here, stopping the charge from Jeffbot. Jeffbot doesn't get that shot. Doesn't get the beat. As the beat will come out here on top of QZ's head. The beat just dropped on top of him. Will keep them all healthy, keep them all alive, and only 20 seconds remaining here. But crucially, Asdo has that Blizzard coming up, and they also have that window. But I don't see any ults really available here for the side of Aphelion.
Yeah, Vet's gonna have that Shatter, and that's gonna be it. So it's gonna come down to avoiding that. QZ is gonna be able to.
Can they
not
touch?
Gonna be. Oh, they are gonna be able to touch. Okay, they're able to touch on the ball. So this final fight will actually happen.
Yeah, they do get a really good touch. But they touch again. They do it once again. But Kilroy comes back. It takes out his opposite. Manx is dead. You're gonna see you're gonna need a massive Shatter. Asdo gonna be throwing the Blizzard into the wall. But they're gonna have to live. The lamp is already up. You're gonna see a DM coming out here. Maybe it's not just quite enough. The only ult you had available is gone. Silvertoes though. Silvertails built up their own ult. You're gonna be trying to fire down range, but just not enough. The wall comes out to block the bomb in the air. Can this kill 3? Only kills 1. And oh, he crushes them! He crushes Kilroy! We've seen it! It's happened, folks! As it will be Manx coming back, but the lamp is out, and there's not enough damage here to really stop them from getting it. He's back with the Shatter, and the wall! Oh, the wall from Asdo! Been so good this entire game! But again, they're still blowing it on this point. Manx is on the flank. Manx finds Jeffbot. Your Reinhardt is down. Your mate is back with that Blizzard. No DM to eat. The Lucifer's gonna get frozen up. He's gonna be low. He's gonna lose his life. It's been a crazy stall fight here. This is not one of those fights like 2CP where you have the spawns so close here. The spawns are pretty even for both teams. So this has been so crazy.
this is absolutely insane, and I don't think Asdo is going to be able to stay on. No, they're not. And I want to make a point here in saying that we've seen May, I believe on every map.
Play of the game.
I
Not
believe we have seen. I
Volskaya.
don't. Volskaya,
Not
we
Volskaya.
might not have. I believe we've seen it
Volskaya.
every map, with perhaps the exception of Volskaya.
It was double
And
bubble
we-
versus balls.
We have seen a May ult be cancelled from a stun from Kilroy. We have yet to see a single May ult be eaten by D.Va.
Yeah, true.
So I believe that these divas have had their dinners for the evening, and they've
They're
had a
not
full
hungry.
4-course meal, and none of them are hungry. We have seen a Sigma eat a Grab, not a Blizzard, now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, we've seen exactly one Blizzard get canceled, and it wasn't being eaten by anything. It was from a flashbang from Kilroy. So A, props to Kilroy, because that's nuts. But B, wow. That's kind of crazy that both of these Mays have kind of gone uncontested by their opposing divas. And we're really seeing the value that both teams are getting from these Mays that aren't being contested. That round we saw Asdo obviously kind of running wild on it. And then we also saw C Team, who was building the Blizzards from the get-go on the defense there and really just kind of running rampant and using the walls, using the freezes, using the Blizzards to just shut down the enemy team. And as much as Rush is a team-oriented meta where the whole team has to be successful, if your May gets shut down, you've lost a ton of your utility. You've lost a lot of your team's value in general. And both of these Mays, because I don't think it's a diva issue. I don't think either of these divas are struggling. I think they're both doing very well. I think it's just that these Mays are built fundamentally different, and they're just they know they're yeah, exactly. They're like, all right, this is exactly when DM is coming. It's done, Blizzard. Or this is my wall. I'm going to Blizzard now. You're not going to make it on time, and I know you're not, so I'm just going to throw it. And that's kind of crazy that A, they have so much faith in themselves. Like, that is the height of like Diamond and Masters. It's just nothing can go wrong for you, so you're going to do everything you want. But also, like, they're just not making the mistakes on them either, which is kind of crazy to me. Like, someone should have made a mistake by now, and neither of them are. So that's kind of nuts.
Yeah, big shout outs to the Bay players here for not getting their ult eaten so far, but looks like there will be a little bit of an issue with one of the players right now, so we are going to be moving to a short little break right now. We'll be back as soon as possible, but in the meantime, right now, it is, crazily enough, Aphelion, the fourth seed, up 3-1 against Joey, the number 1 seed. Yeah, and we are sorry for that short break. There was a player dealing with an issue. It has been resolved. So we'll be entering into our 5th map of the series so far. 3-1 here for Aphelion over Joey Esports currently. The markings of an upset are already starting. But now moving on to Li Jiang, this is Joey Esports' pick. Trying to get back into this game. Trying to force this to a map 7. What do you think about this pick? Of course, there was 2 options here for control. It was Li Jiang or Ilios.
Well, here's the thing. We kind of talked about this a little in the break, so you know what I'm going to say, but the audience doesn't. I think this is a good pick from them, but I don't think Ilios would have been a bad pick for them. Simply because I think Ilios has a lot to offer for them if they want to run the double bubble, but also it allows Aphelion to run the ball comps. And when you come onto Li Jiang, if you look here, especially because we're starting on Control Center, you're kind of forced to mirror the rush comps. You get the TP rush comp in... it's got a name, Night Market. That's the one.
Yep.
I've blacked that one out. Anyone who has any history in Trank knows why. Me and casting Night Market don't go hand in hand. So that one doesn't exist in my mind. But also, like, you're forcing the rush on minimum 2 out of 3 of these maps, and probably all 3. And the most success Joey has had so far has been the rush and the rush mirror. And interesting, Jeffbot is out. QZ is going to be on the main tank here.
QZ, the flex master here, trying to go for all the roles. Maybe we'll see him support if they do force that map 7. But right now, we'll be everyone going to be just throwing in their damage in the white room. It's a brawl in the server room right now, as Asdo is the first one to find a pick. The Junkrat spam is just too much here. Both these comps perfectly mirrored, except in the fact that one of them is missing Orion, and now a Symmetra. So a good first fight's going to give him control over this point, and a lot of that ult charge that is so desperately needed in Overwatch.
Yeah, what a tempo being set from QZ there. Just inting, full trust on their team, into that corner to control that space and let them spam, and that worked out wonderfully, and again, just controlling this space so well into this next fight.
I don't know if I quite agree with trying to retake through White Room, and they also disagree with that one as they instantly back off. Both lamps have been forced here. Both Symmetras trying to beam up. It will be Hooch here. Gets taken out instantly. Both windows going to get thrown on as well. Again, another perfect mirror in kinds of how they're playing these fights, but except one side has just had that early pick against them, so they just haven't been able to get the damage through as well. Again, they're just trading everything right now. Trading the Baptiste as well. They lose their Reinhardt. They take out the Symmetra. Maybe some damage will be lacking. But Phone gets off their beat. The tire was there for the respawn from CT, but Asdo is putting on a clinic right now on how to play some Junkrat.
Remy on the Sigma blocked that shatter. It wasn't QZ, who should have, for all intents and purposes, been shattered there along with the other 4, like the other 3 members of their team. That should have been an easy 4-man shatter for Vet. Remy just with a 2-second spot shield absolutely blocked that. That is excellent coming out from the Sigma, especially after the recent shield changes.
Trickio doesn't have his beat just yet, but they have the lamp. The wall's going to come out. I want to see a kite here. You can't kind of contest this. Instead, they're going to beat. They're going to speed forward through this wall. The shadow comes out, only puts 1 on the ground. It will be Trickio. The Critic Flux to respond. The Lucio's in this air, a little bit too far away from the lamp from the other one, but the tile on the outside does take out Silvertears. A trade and supports on this backside, and the main tank is down here. So it's going to be Joey Esports holding on to this point. And again, we said this, the best success they've ever had has been on this Rush Mirror. Yes, they did lose. They did lose to Aphelion on Route 66 in the Rush Mirror on defense, but I mean, it's been better than anything else they've shown tonight. As again, proving more and more that they can kind of control this.
Yeah, and Asdo, Remy coming in on the off tank and letting QZ swap over the main tank. And then this round especially, True Donger on the Baptiste have just been fundamental in winning this round and winning it just extremely cleanly. Like, that wasn't 100-0, and there was only an overtime basically because Tricio said, all right, we need the overtime tick, so you guys can all die here, and I'm going to go to point. That's kind of not at all what we've been seeing the rest of the the match from Joey Esports. Kind of a dominant showing that some of us might have expected going into this, and Aphelion have proved us wrong, but that's kind of crazy that they really just like, all right, Jeffbot, you were our main tank. Now you're gone. QZ, you're on main tank. We're going to just roll this team now. And if that continues, maybe, Joey, we're doing a trifling amount of trolling.
But for this comp, okay, this Joey comp is bringing back some nostalgia. My team actually ran this about a year, 2 years ago actually, back when Ryan Orisa was like the big thing in scrims. We instead decided to run this composition because it kind of was like we thought of it as a counter to the traditional sim TP to point strat at the time with the Ryan Orisa, because you have all the cleave with the monkey, you have the Doomfist who just goes through shields. Obviously, you need the BAP and the Lucio, the Ryan, and the Symmetra, but you just opt in the Winston over the Diva or the Zarya, and you opt in the Doomfist over what could be like a Mei or a McCree, because you're just like, we can just cleave through them. We don't care about your shields, because that was back when there was two of them with the Orisa. So we were like, shields, no.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of what is commonly called the Bulldozer comp, which is this, but with Reaper instead of Sim, where you just have the cleave on everything, and then you expect your Doomfist to get that first pick as your team just walks in and does damage, and this is exactly what it's supposed to do. They walk in, and your whole team is doing damage to their whole team, while the supports keep you alive, and that Doomfist, he gets that cleave with the uppercut, he gets that cleave with the ground pound, but going in with that punch, he's just looking for that first pick. Just giving your team the 5v6 so that you can just continue to walk in and there's no chance that they can out-damage you anymore because you are killing everyone at once.
Look at this Lucio alt charge difference right now. Phone almost has his beat. Trickio is 3 to his beat. Nice try, QZ!
That's an off-take
but you can't quite find it. It's an off-take shatter. That's our shatter, I guess. But they do have the beat. Obviously, again, like Phone said, he was 50% up on to the opponent in Trickio, and I can just push forward. They get the shatter out here from Vet. I don't know if that was really needed. Also with this window as well, maybe an overcommittal of ultimates, but you still have, if you are the side of Joey Esports, you still have that ultimate available for Killboy. And Hooch swaps over to the Torbjorn, and we have an these swaps are interesting. What do you think? What do you make of them, Bard?
I like the Echo.
I noped right out of there.
I don't know what this Torb is meant to do. I guess it's meant to like off angle and put some poke in, which could be really good if you're pushing for the brawl against the Bulldozer. The Echo is really just looking for picks here. Like, you don't let them walk onto your whole team, you split up really well, and it should do damage, but when the rest of your team just dies. Okay, there we go. C-Team needed to find that first pick. They did, and now this fight is winnable.
And now the fight, very winnable. Looking to go as a win. I'm going to put this in the win column. So far, they've got 4 people on this point to 2. No sustain available, but you have 99% there. Again, I think if you maybe saved 1 or 2 ultimates from the previous fight, you could have won that pretty easily, because the enemy composition kind of is very disorganized in what it wants to do.
How did Asno not die? Wait a minute. Asno stayed on point and contested that whole fight.
Wait, he didn't die at all, I guess.
Die.
Well, they grab him in the end. They gotta use a grab to kill him, but they trade out. The Vet could also lose their life. They don't. The Echo Shadow comes out again, charges insanely fast, and even if they do trade over and over again, Aphelion's gonna be coming back in full force. But Joey is in a strong position to take this map and to take this point back and then take the map.
Yeah, this is a good fight win for them. Getting that cleanup. Maybe a grab on a Doomfist might be overcommitment, but if you're protecting your Baptiste who is coming back, making sure that they get to the point without dying, you really are saving the fight for your team. So, in my opinion, it's worth it, if maybe not a bit of an overcommitment when you might be able to...
Who just caught out?
Oh,
Playing Torbjorn on turf.
Barely avoids killing Silvertail there, and now they have to be very careful because Immortality, their turrets is stuck on the point. Oh, Vet, no! That's not what you want to see.
Vet goes down to the Shadow, loses his life as well. Joey Esports storming back onto this point. Like I said, they are poised to win this round. The Diva following the Torb, surfing off the map, but it doesn't quite matter. They have 6 on this point. It's only Vet available. Yes, he won't even maybe touch this point. They can flash him here and he won't even touch. Nope, he does not manage to touch. He had the Shadow, still wouldn't have mattered as Joey Esports takes back the map. Now 2 to 3 here with Aphelion. Still in the lead. There's still some ground to cover.
Yeah, a lot of ground to cover, but we've seen the swaps work wonders. Sorry, we've got Remy coming back in on off tank, and QZ swapping to main tank, which was, it was confusing for a second, but after seeing it, like 10 seconds into the round, it made a lot of sense. QZ knows what he's doing and kind of put on a clinic on the Reinhardt there. And especially watching the fight to me that showed that Joey Esports is still in this match, like just completely in this match, like not slowed at all by the previous rounds and the previous maps, and B, that this might be their best like 6 to have in the game, was the retake, that very last retake on the Bulldozer comp on Night Market, because Bulldozer as a comp fundamentally is meant to win the fight immediately. You're not meant to retake with it. It's not a comp that's meant to stay in. Usually once you lose with Bulldozer, you swap to brawl, to rush, to dive, whatever you're going to be running. And in this case, Joey Esports said, all right, we're still on Bulldozer. They're kind of countering it, and they have beat us, but they just use Grav. So, like, we can hold W. And Asdo can just sit in the back line, and also QZ's just going to shatter Vet out of nowhere. So we're going to win this fight. And they did literally everything that you would do in a first fight with Bulldozer, but in the last fight. And that is exactly what a winning team needs to be doing throughout the game.
Yeah, and with that said, Joey fighting back once again, but they will have the loser's pick here. So, of course, Aphelion does have the map of choice, and they do, in fact, pick Hollywood. That will be what we're going up to next. An interesting map, to be sure. A lot of different looks you can get here. Rush, you can go for more of that double shield, or even that Hammond composition that we saw from the opposite teams here. We saw, obviously, Joey run the double shield on Volskaya defense to actually good effect. I want to point out with Volskaya, both of these teams had good defenses. It was just one was a little bit better. And by that I mean 10% better. So it's not like the double shield didn't work for them. It did, it's just the offense struggled. So that's definitely something you can see, but it looks like they will be showing off that rush composition that we've seen all too commonly. As right now, Hammond composition looks to be coming out here for the side of Aphelion.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, this is the one comp that Joey Esports have seemed to have the most trouble countering from Aphelion. They've figured out how to beat the rush pretty convincingly, I would say, based on last map, but they haven't like won a map really where this has been the prominent composition coming out from Aphelion.
Yeah, I mean, they held them on Volskaya against his composition, but then they instantly got rolled by the composition. But right now, there's going to be just a big kite back. Ball is going to take this. Ball's just going to sit on the point. He's going to try to get this tick with the Tracer as well. Going to get this tick. Oh, they can't quite get it. That's unfortunate. He rolls into a pin. Oh, yeah. If you trade out there full on aggression, which is what that rush wants to do on your front line, you're just trying to trade a tick at that point. Just a really good job of cognizance there from Joey Esports. No, this is the time to kite back onto this point.
Yeah, very well done from Joey Esports, and that's kind of, we've seen that in microcosm against like C Team on Tracer or against Vet on the ball. We've seen how dangerous this rush from them is when they just say, all right, that's our target, all 6 are on it, like no question. And now we're seeing it again, but just with the whole core of the team.
But they managed to kite back. So as I say that, QZ decides, nope, you don't kite back. I swing on you, you die. As Asdo finds a kill as well, and this time there wasn't even any pressure on the point to try and get back there to stop a tick. They were trying to help their team out. And again, I think that's the issue on Hollywood. It's hard for you to set up in a position where you can't get rushed down by this by this composition, because you're going to try to set up your Ashe, right? But they can still just run over your Sigma. He's just too exposed. There's no high ground for him to run on where the Ryan can't just jump on top of him.
Yeah, and like honestly, that whole fight was basically, they pushed into that choke to fight the core. Kilroy with an amazing pick on the C team, by the way, who's like, C team's been trying to be that annoying Tracer who kind of pulls the whole team back, and it's just not working because Kilroy's there.
Oh,
and
nice block.
QZ is just walking, and that's another off tank shatter. Don't worry about it.
He's trying, man.
But yeah, Vet and C Team, they've been trying to take these off angles and been like, all right, we got the pincer, we can go in now, and it's just never it's never caught Joey Esports off guard this map yet.
Joey Esports trying to catch out Aphelion in the rotation to the higher ground. The beat comes out as well, keeping them very healthy. The Pulse Bomb doesn't find anything but the lamp, but everyone's very low. Looking at this health buzz, everyone's going to just go super low onto this point. The bombs will come out. A nice Maywall keeps them above the mines, won't even take any damage from it. And this looks like it could even be maybe a repeat of Volskaya, where there's just a really good defense into this composition, and they just can't manage to break on offense or find an opportunity on offense. They're just too slow.
Yeah, and they had a good opportunity. They took Remy out of the fight. That's a lot of the damage mitigation gone. That's a lot of the high ground contesting gone. And then Joey Esports was like, all right, we're just going to walk into your team then. You're all going to die. And that's what happened. And that's really that's Rush in a nutshell. Is, okay, you have the first pick. We're just going to walk into your team and we'll still win the fight because you're not running Rush back. So I think Aphelion, they need to find that first pick and then they need to make sure they get the value out of it. And ooh, this could be big.
Oh, they're on the floor. They don't have the lamp, but they find Silvertails with the high noon. The Shadow on the front line as well finds two. You're making fun of Choosy Shatters. Where are you now? As he finds Patu's on the ground, they just rush forward, as the comp name would suggest, and just get the picks. 30 seconds remaining. We're on the final fight here, as Vet gets frozen up, gets stunned up, gets taken out back. And now, again, we have this situation where it just seems like this composition, this Ball Sigma, could just not find any opportunities on this offense.
Yeah, and obviously I said off-tank Shatter, but credit to Phenomenon, too, for getting that pick. And that's a bomb to zone high ground? That's actually really interesting.
I think he might have been poked out of mech, maybe?
I think they were actually trying to stop Vet from going over to touch the point. They could have also just been poked out of the mech.
Yeah.
Wasn't watching the health bars, but that's really big actually because it forces Vet to go all the way around and they can't mitigate this blizzard, so they have to be slow. Silvertail's down. It's just Tricio and Phenomenon here trying to help C-Team, but I don't think they're gonna get a tick. I think we're gonna see an F7 regardless.
Hashtag draw for Bard.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
That'd be nice. If we could, thank you. That would be wonderful. But I think we're seeing a map 7.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a map 7 no matter what. Either Joey Esports takes this up, ties it up to 3-3, and we'll be moving, we'll be looking towards the map 7 to end the tiebreaker. Or Remy says it was a fat finger. It wasn't getting poked at a mech. It wasn't trying to zone. It was just
he says
fat
it
finger.
was a fat finger.
Yeah, just a fat finger. But,
I mean, if he was trying to read Vet going over the high ground to touch point, that would have been nuts. Like, that would have genuinely been the most 900 IQ play I've seen in Trank, whether or not it worked. But a fat finger makes a lot more sense. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But again, thinking about what will happen here, either we see a hashtag draw for Bard and we move on to a guaranteed map 8, not guaranteed map 8, but a potential map 8, guaranteed map 7, or we go to that 3-3 and we have that map 7 to tiebreak. It's going to be interesting to see what will end up going down here, as again, they're going to be going out onto this Ball Sigma composition, but again, it's going to try to be, they're kind of repeat the success of the final Volskaya, right? Where they got a full hold, and they got a fuller hold. But even the fullest hold here, you still don't get the map.
Yeah, I don't know if the Wrecking Ball comp is the way to go.
The play on Hollywood.
Don't have a tick. Because on Volskaya, obviously, they had the tick. They could give it up to reset and take those fights. And so it ended up working out for them. Because they had that little bit to play with. Here they don't. So if Joey just rush point and take that first tick the way that they did on Volskaya, you've lost. Like, you're not... There's no chance to reset back up. And Joey are doing the smart thing, and they're going to force them off this cafe high ground.
Yeah, this is what you want to do. The Sigma and the Ash and everyone's going to try to set up on the high ground, and it's going to try to poke you out from there. Ball is going to be there to disrupt, to touch point, to contest, everything like that. And now, you have point control. Now, your eyes all should turn to Vet. All should look at him. But Femion finds True Donger on the backside of that point, but they're still losing point control. The pin from the high ground! Juicy, the flank pin finds Feminon.
I've been calling him Phenomenon.
All right, okay, might have even be that.
Right,
you guys, you guys in Tranquility, you have the weirdest, like, just make normal names.
Feminon,
Fair enough.
Phenomenon.
Okay, my producer is
There we go.
screaming at me. Mr. Dora is just. Sorry, Mr. Esports Extraordinary, Mr. Contenders. I'm sorry. I'm not. It's not a name person like you. So yeah, they won the map. Joey Esports win 3-3 there again. It's a first tick kind of situation. It's not going to be very climactic unless you have kind of that situation on Volskaya where it's like, yes, we held for 4 minutes, and they had to only cap 10%. It didn't do that quite yet.
And then they held for 4 minutes, back and forth, back and forth. I do want to say, I don't think QZ died. Just full stop. I don't think QZ had a death on that map.
I don't think a lot of people on Joey Esports had a death. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Someone correct me. I know Remy died once. I think True died.
True died. Yep.
I don't think QZ died. And QZ is an off tank. I think playing main tank. He might just be a tank at this point. And also he took the most ridiculous flank off angle charge from high ground and didn't get punished. And that's props to QZ, but also 5 people on Joey Esports without a main tank are enough of a distraction. Is it distraction? They're enough of a presence.
I mean, that reminds me of a game where I was playing on Numbani earlier. They had this Samba, so I was playing Diva, right? I was just sitting high ground, spinning literally in a circle, just shooting every single possible point that could come out through the chokes. So basically it was a 5v5 because the Samba wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing anything. I just had faith in my team and they pulled through and the Samba couldn't play the game, you know? And that's kind of like it. You have those moments where like, yes, you're abandoning. Yes, you could do a 6v5, but you're trying to mitigate the risk of what that unknown factor could do to your team.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That didn't happen.
And that's the thing. Is that map wasn't close, but this match has been incredibly close. This is 3-3 for a reason. We've seen Volskaya literally be decided by 10% on first point. We've seen that first control map go back and forth before Aphelion kind of shut it down with that ball comp. We saw King's Row really be decided by one positioning decision, and Route 66 was an overtime versus an overtime, basically, on that first point to decide who wins it. And now we've made it to map 7, and there's no draws. You can't force the enemy team. If you don't do well on your attack here, if you're Aphelion, you can't force the enemy team to play another map unless both of you get full held 0-0-0-0.
Jaffa.
So, like, honestly, if you draw this, I will be impressed. Like, more than any other game I've ever seen in Trank. If you draw this map, I will be so incredibly impressed. But this is where it ends for one of these teams. This is your tournament life on the line in a map 7 on Havana. The stakes don't get higher.
Yeah, and right now we're looking here at Havana. I mean, this has probably been like the fastest map 7 I've ever seen. Like think about it. Like what happened? Okay, so first control 2-0, right? Second map, I think it was Volskaya, right? Didn't go past base. Basically 1 tick each fight, so 8 minutes. Yeah. Then you had third point, which was King's Row, which went to the second point on streets on the second attack, right? And then you had fourth thing, which was again, you got full held on your defense, right? And then, I mean, it's just like what the fast, and then a 2-0 for Joey, and then again, a full hold, and then into a 1 tick fight, right? So like it's been like, yes, it's a close series, but it's been like the fastest map 7 I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Like we started this less than 2 hours ago.
That's crazy for like a map 7. like I don't think there's the joke where Gizmo was like the barn burner. He gets stuck with barn burners, but like
this barn was full of nitroglycerin. It's burning very quickly.
Yeah, it's burning, but it's like it's a very quick burn. That was a really good analogy there. As getting into this fight, both the Maywalls are out, both the lamps are out. And now everyone is going to reset here as Kilroy gets the kill on the Silvertails, and QZ doesn't have any amount of shield left, so that damage is going to come through onto the rest of his team. They don't have their BAP though, with that healing that can provide them. Vet has that shatter, but loses his life. He can't shatter when you're dead. As the Maywall goes up, leaving the D.Va in the air. QZ will trade his life out as well. And again, same thing as like we said on Route 66. You can't really hold this spawn when you're down as Vet going into the back line, trying to look for that McCree. Doesn't quite find him. As it will be as they're trying to find Silverstairs, doesn't quite find him, and we'll end up losing life. They're just going to the air. They're just hopping around today.
Look, I've been instructed by a main support player that Ryan is a dive tank.
True.
And you know, Vet with that charge all the way from the right side spawn door, all the way into the back of Joey Esports, is proving that that is the case. In the fact that he survived and didn't get punished and also got value out of it. Ryan probably is a dive tank at this point. Let's be honest.
He's just the diviest of tanks. But the Gravitic Flux here is available for Remy. Can't need a Gravitic Flux, so you can get a grab. It's gonna go up no matter what you say. But look at QZ here. He is just getting ran over, as though Blizzard's cart finds no one. I think that's the first Blizzard we've seen that's been clearly like ineffective this entire series. So props to the May players, but as though now's not the time in map 7 to start that statistic going, as they will be losing their life. As Killer does find the 1v1 against Max, but we'll have to back up. We're gonna be trying to push this card as fast as possible into here. But look at this Ryan. They're already here. They're already aggressive, even without supports.
Yeah, but look at the ults online.
I mean,
there are
five
five
ults, yeah.
online for Aphelion versus three. Three important ults, but only 3 for the side of Joey Esports. But Kilroy, of course, he gets value.
The Shatter finds nothing. Okay, so the Shatter finds nothing. The bomb finds a lamp. The Shatter the Shatter from QZ finds 3. As a really big, you said 5 ultimates. Well, they used 3 of them, and they still lose the fight. Only the Shatter and High Noon will use them for the side of Joey Esports, and they just take the fight for themselves. So a really clean, efficient eco retake there for the side of Joey Esports.
Brutal.
Oh, this is so bad. Send her to the Nether Realm.
Oh, that stagger's brutal. Kilroy does get taken down though, so they can take this fight.
Still don't know if you can push without your D.Va. That's like a tank. Wait, they lamp so early. We'll be going out there. The High Noon finds nothing. The counter pin onto the point does leave him frozen up. They still haven't burned through him just quite yet. And the counter Blizzard heal is available from Asdo. That was a really, really good fight there for Joey Esports. Really well played, really disciplined. You wait for the Blizzard to come out. You keep your Reinhardt up through it. You counter with the Blizzard of your own, and you just take the fight. And now the ult economy is completely flipped on its head.
You know, we saw Asdo kind of, I'll call it a whiff. I think he was aiming for the team and they just had the speed to get out. But we'll call it a whiff on that earlier Blizzard. But they got the freeze on the Vet for that 5-man shatter. They got the wall to deny damage onto QZ to keep him alive in the Blizzard. And then counter Blizzard to break up the team. And there's the window, and Asdo takes out Manx. This is looking like we're also not going to see a second point on this map as well.
Man, this is going to be the fastest game that's gone to map 7, I think.
We've had 4-0s longer than this game.
Yeah, we have had 4-0s longer than this game. More than likely. As QZ will be counting pitting right there, the wall does find him, but the lamp is there to respond. Kilroy with the Theta in the back will find 3, but it won't quite matter. I don't even know if those count. I don't know if that came out before the round ended.
At least 2 of them do.
I think maybe 2 of the elims came out before the round ended, so maybe he gets 2 of the eliminations, I guess. But man, this has some echoings of a certain match that occurred in some. I'm not even gonna continue with that. I don't know. That was just bad. There was a lot of ways I could have said that. Didn't say anything properly.
We don't reference the large bird of Overwatch.
Sometimes some casters do. I don't even know if I'm allowed to or not half the time. I don't know if I'm allowed to half the time.
Simply because we're not allowed to. I think we can say owl. We can't say the third word.
We can't say the L word. We can
say Overwatch L word.
Yeah.
But that just sounds kind of weird. So I personally just don't refer to them unless we have a team that may perhaps pull a Shanghai Dragons and lose all their games. But that's more of a
I'm scared, man. I don't want Blizzard lawyers coming after us. We do good work here, you know? I wouldn't want to have to.
We don't have any money, so why would they come after us?
Hey man, we have those Amazon gift codes. Of course, you can get those Amazon gift codes if you do watch. Again, hook up all your friends. Tell them, hey, you want some chance for some Amazon gift codes? You want to watch some good Overwatch while you're doing it? Semifinals end this week. Next week is finals into grand finals. These are the perfect time to start getting your entries in the exclamation points in the chat. But we're moving into the spawn hold right here. Yes, I just sold out right there. But please get them up. But the massive anti the backline. This map may not last much longer right now.
Phone, you're a main support player. What are you doing? What?
I was just pulling a little Dallas fuel, you know. Two
I
off
think they're gonna
supports.
stay on the Ana.
2 off supports, easy.
No, there we go. Phone, who's been playing a very good Lucio, I might say as well, all game, decides that they're an Ana player now and kind of wins that spawn hold as the doors open with that anti. So honestly, huge. And Aphelion, they got like one chance now, and that's a good first pick for them at least.
Yeah, they find the pick onto Phone, and QZ should be losing their life closely after the jump shatter. Doesn't find anything as QZ loses their life for trying to go for a hero play right there. As this is probably the weirdest place I've ever seen a fight on Havana. I've actually never fought here. I don't think I've fought a single time on that stairwell. That is like the area. That area is only for DPS and Lucio's trying to kill DPS. That's all how I feel about it sometimes.
That's actually really smart from Aphelion to push up there because that high ground hold is so powerful and so important. And then Aphelion are just like, all right, we know that they need that. We know that that will basically win them the map and the match if they can stay up there. So they just walk up, and QZ charges off cooldown because why wouldn't he?
Why not?
And kind of they punish that and just win. And Vet, speaking of punishing, is gonna get the shatter, but the blizzard, the blizzard is huge.
But
Are they gonna get the value though? They've got 2.
The counter blizzard
is so big too.
Yeah, the counter blizzard finds space. A 3v3 on this cart right now. It's a May instead of a Baptiste. The Diva is alive in baby Diva form. We'll be looking to remake as soon as possible. So close. Does have that remake. Maybe looking to... as we do have Asdo mentioned the kind of kill onto Trico, as the bomb comes out here. He should be able to block this quite simply. Instead, they finds 2, and the Diva bomb and found basically 3 right there. As Asdo taken out by Manx with a flank on the flashbang. As a really big play keeping them in this fight here from Feminon
might have just kept their team in the tournament with that bomb. This is so big. This is so important for Aphelion because one of these teams is out if they lose this, and that single Diva bomb might have just saved them.
Yeah, and you have this window coming out here. A good wall does stop that from being very effective, but you still have Trico with the with the beat. That gives them the advantage here. No team really has an ult just yet. We're still just building, except for Trico. You see Vet already getting flashed, already getting fanned the hammered, looking for the kill here. Doesn't quite find it just yet. Vet's charge does not find anything. QZ's charge doesn't find anything. Both these Ryans charging into walls, but Asdo goes down. Vet with the swing does find it. But a 3-man shatter finds the mark as both Mays are out of this fight. The beat goes down on the Max. He just finds with that extra health the ability to find the Diva Mac, find the Lucio, who get charged on by QZ, but they just can't quite kill him. And right now it's really massive here as the May wasn't in the fight to charge up that blizzard. Doesn't quite have it just yet, and only 30 seconds to go.
This match, the tournament life for one of these teams, comes down to this last fight. Will this blizzard be enough for Asdo? It's gonna go out after the Deadeye, which is really smart. And Feminon, that's the first eat of the match, and it could not have come at a better time.
No, but I don't know if it matters quite yet. The Shatter isn't able to come out here from Bet. He gets canceled. And even though Feminon is trying to keep his team in this tournament, I don't think it will work. He will end up losing. As the Joey Esports wins in the end, but not in the fashion that people might have predicted. As that was a game, ladies and gentlemen. That last map came down to the last team fight. Feminon trying to do it all with the bomb, with the DV eat. Doors still flaming me with my pronunciation.
Feminon did everything in their power to keep their team in this match, in this tournament, in this map. You had the ridiculous bomb to save what probably should have just been a full roll through. You ate the blizzard, which should have been the fight winner for Joey Esports. And you did so much the whole match, basically, to keep your team competitive in all of these maps. I'm thinking of the Sigma on Volskaya. I'm thinking of coming back on the Monkey on Volskaya. I'm thinking of the Diva and the Sigma, especially on Nepal. Getting that 2-0 was so good for Aphelion. They turned it around based on Theminon, basically helping to shut down Jeffbot in those early rounds, especially Route 66 coming back to stall on both of those fights. And yet, Joey Esports proved that they may have lost as many maps in this single match as they lost in the regular season, proving Aphelion has been their single greatest challenge. But they've also proved that they're still the best team in Discord tier that is left in the tier, and they are coming towards these finals with a vengeance. This map and this match, in their eyes, probably shouldn't have been this close, and they feel like they underperformed. And when you feel like you underperformed, you go into the next week with a fire to be better and continue to grow and get stronger. So good luck, Q, for quarantine, because you have an angry Joey Esports coming at you next week.
Yeah, and I think the important thing to notice is that Aphelion has shown that Joey Esports, despite being 9-0, despite only losing 3 maps in the regular season, is definitely mortal. They are definitely able to be pushed to the test, and I think that not only speaks to Aphelion, because Aphelion did good, like, they also were the only team to beat Nya, right? Like, Nya, the number 1 seed on the other side of the other side of the bracket. They were only one to beat them. If they had won this match, they might have been, like, they could have been the upset team, you know? Like, that could have been something that they could have rallied behind. Doesn't end up happening in the end. 1 team fight away, and that's just really, really unfortunate. We would have loved to see more of Aphelion, but it is loser goes home, and it will be Joey Esports coming back next week to play up against Q for quarantine. It's going to be an interesting matchup to see if that does go the way. Again, a lot of people were expecting maybe a Joey Esports into a grand finals, but that might not be the case, either on this side or the other side of the bracket. I'm interested to see that. But again, like I said earlier in this cast multiple times in this night, there is more matches coming next week, the week after. Next week will be finals week. We're going to be seeing who will be moving on to the grand finals here for both sides of the bracket. That's going to be very interesting days to do it, so don't miss that out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Don't miss those games. They're going to be absolute bangers, I can assure you. And again, the week after that, it will be grand finals week, the week where winners are crowned and the second place teams go home. But going to be interesting to see how those do shake up in every single tier. Again, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And of course, while you're watching some Overwatch, while you're watching the matches, seeing who goes home, seeing who moves on, see whose hopes and dreams still live on, you get some entries into some Amazon gift cards. So hit up your friends, be like, hey, you guys want to watch some Overwatch? Also, giveaway. It's a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, you get some Amazon gift cards, you get to see some excellent Overwatch, and you also get to be a part of one of the best communities in Overwatch. Anyone who thinks differently can at me. I'll take all criticisms and tell you that you're wrong. That being said, I have been Bard. I have been your color caster for the evening. I have been joined by worst OW player. Honestly, don't tell him this. He's should be named best cast. Let's be real. We've also been joined by Dor and Day on production and
observation.
Daye, sorry,
on
I mess it up
observation.
every time. Daye, I'm sorry. I've done that like 8 times in the last 2 seasons. My bad. But thank you for joining us. We will be back on Monday with the Iris podcast. And in the meantime, have a good time, play some Overwatch, and be good people.